We have been following two legal cases, one involving Donald Trump, the other President Biden's son, Hunter. On Thursday, the two men appeared in courtrooms on opposite sides of the country. Donald Trump for closing arguments in his civil fraud trial in New York, and Hunter Biden to plead not guilty to federal tax charges in Los Angeles. If he's found liable in New York, Trump and his company face a $370 million fine and a lifetime ban from the state's real estate industry. Now, as he exited the courtroom, the former president reasserted the Trump organization's innocence. Let's go to Robert Costa now. He was in the courtroom during those closing arguments. Bob, what stood out to you about the closing arguments from both sides?
The fact that the former president, Donald Trump, even participated in the closing summation by his legal team was unusual. The clients often stay quiet while their lawyers make those closing arguments, but Trump chose to speak up inside the courtroom. He also decided to go down the street to his property at 40 Wall Street to speak to reporters. I had several exchanges with the former president there about his ongoing legal challenges, and he told me that he essentially sees all of his stops at these courthouses as part of the campaign trail. And he also said he plans to attend all of his upcoming civil and criminal trials, whether it's on the state, local, or federal level.
And Bob, any sense of when we might get a ruling from the judge in this case?
It could come in the next few days, but more likely in the coming weeks, based on the comments from the judge, Arthur Engoron, in this case. It must be said that the judge, Arthur Engoron, has already decided and concluded that Trump and his sons, as well as the Trump organization, engaged in fraudulent acts over recent decades, defrauding banks and companies with alleged terribly misvalued property values and for hotels and golf courses and different kinds of properties. Now Engoron's just going to decide, based on the arguments laid before him, about the scope of the penalty. Will Trump be banned from doing any kind of business in New York? That's on the table here as a potential outcome and penalty. So is a potential $250 to $300 million plus fine for Trump and his associates.
And Donald Trump was also in Washington earlier this week to make his case for presidential immunity in his 2020 election interference case. Is his absence from the campaign trail this week likely to impact Monday's caucus in Iowa?
For now, most Republican voters we've encountered in Iowa and in other early voting states don't consider Trump's legal challenges as a barrier to voting for him. His hardcore supporters are with him, and in fact, many of these legal challenges fuel their grievances about the political process and fuel their support for Donald Trump. When I talk to high officials in the Trump campaign and in his inner circle, they say these legal stops actually help keep the attention on how they believe Trump is a perceived victim by many of his supporters, and they're using that as a political way of getting ahead of Trump's primary rivals like Nikki Haley, the former ambassador in the Trump administration, who has been arguing repeatedly that Trump has too much, quote, chaos around him. But that chaos so far isn't causing Trump too much political trouble. He's ahead of the polls in Iowa, and he's ahead of the polls in New Hampshire, though Nikki Haley is catching up and doing quite well in the recent surveys.
All right, Robert Costa for us. Bob, thank you.